This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm down in Canterbury today, delighted to be joined by Commonwealth Cruiserweight Champion Chris Billam Smith. Chris, first and foremost, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm great, can't complain. I haven't seen you since your fight. Have you managed to unwind since the fight? We'll come on to it, but congratulations on getting married. You've been enjoying your time away from the ring?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in camp. I've just been training at home, but obviously boxed on August the 7th and then got married on the 28th. So yeah, it was nice. Had a nice little break.
I mentioned I haven't seen you since fight camp, that win over Nathan Thorley. Just to go back to that and your thoughts on your performance, were you happy with what you produced on the night?
Yeah, we're happy with, the most important thing is always the win, and a knockout's always nice as well, especially early on. It wasn't perfect performance by any means. I sort of made a mistake in the second round, and I got caught with a shot, but not that I was hurt or anything like that. It's just at a higher level you can't get away with stuff like that. But I think because I felt comfortable, I sort of switched off for half a second, but it's not like it hurt me or anything like that. As you can see, I smile in the fight, etc. But happy with the performance overall. Happy with the improvements I've made since I think I've been out the ring for 9-10 months. So yeah, pleased with that.
Just to go back to the experience of being part of fight camp and being in that bubble, I spoke to a couple of fighters who said it wasn't that unusual to be there until the ring walk. Was that the most unusual part for you? What was strange about that whole experience?
For me, that's the most normal part, because the ring walk, you get your music, you're in the zone. It's another fight. It's another it's another experience of just you. For me, I have sort of in your head, I guess you have a routine from when your entrance music kicks in, and so that was normal. But for me, the whole week being in the hotel, we had a garden which was, I don't know, maybe just a bit bigger than a 11-a-side area, as in like a goalkeeper's area. So it wasn't a massive space we had outside. It was in the hotel room most of the time. Obviously we had all four of us, me, Pritchard, Shane and Fowler, so that was good because we kept each other company and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the strangest part for me, not going for a walk on fight day. We went to go for a walk outside and it was absolutely roasting, so we did one lap of the garden, the 18-yard box, and that was it. We went straight back to the room because it was too hot to be outside, chilled out and got the job done.
You told me you've been back in camp just a couple of days now, but obviously the attention will turn to what come next. There's been some talk of Richard Riakporhe sort of vacating the British title, and you and Dion Jumah would then be in line to fight for that title. Is that what you want next? Yeah,
I'd love to fight for the British title. Obviously, it's every British boxer's dream to fight for that title. It's such a prestigious belt. Obviously, there was talk of the European before. I want to box the best lads in the country at this stage of my career and then move on to European and world level. So, Dion's unbeaten. I think he's had 14 or 15 fights now unbeaten. I know him from the amateur days. I've sparred him as a pro and he's a talented lad. But yeah, so he's obviously mandatory for the British. So if they make me versus Dion for the British, that's ideal. I said British or European next. So, I'd love that fight. So yeah, if that's what happens, that's brilliant for me.
Now, I'm sure you've seen plenty of Dion in the professionals. You've shared the ring with him in the amateurs. Is there anything you've seen that would make you confident of taking that fight, or is it about how much you've improved since you guys fought?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, he's improved a lot since we boxed in the amateurs, but I believe he had a bit of time out, and I've improved. I'm a completely different person and fighter. I think you can't take much from the amateurs. That was 8 years ago. I haven't stopped training since then, really. I've probably had most of that off was probably about 4 weeks in those 8 years. So yeah, I think you can't take anything from the amateurs. He was better than me back then, and I don't believe he is now. I think that's as simple as I can put it.
A few other things, Chris, this past weekend I'm sure you're watching. Your old sparring foe, Briedis, lifted the Muhammad Ali trophy, beat Unil Dorticos, another brilliant final by all means. I'm sure you were tuned in. What do you make of his performance?
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance. I thought he did what he had to do. He negated Dorticos's. What Dorticos likes to do is walk you down, put you on the ropes, and then unleash a barrage of punches. He kept his feet moving. He offset him well. He put his shots together and buzzed him a few times. But yeah, I think he was either too far out of range or too close, and Dorcas likes you at the end of his shots. And I think Briedis done really well. Yeah, I thought it was a good performance and definitely deserved the win. I don't know how one judge scored it a draw personally. I thought it was 8-4 was probably the closest I would have given it, 116, 112. But yeah, it was a good performance.
Having shared rounds with him earlier in the year, was there anything he did on the night that surprised you at all?
No, not really. He's got good feet. He's punches solid enough with all his shots. He's got a good jab. He doubled it up well. Nothing surprised me. Once you share the ring with someone, it's hard for them to surprise you with anything new. And he did what he does best. And his game plan was obviously to not sit on the ropes. That was the only chance Dorcas had. Would once you get it, backs you up to the ropes and unleashes, you don't. As soon as you touch those ropes, you've got to be off. You can't stand there. So yeah, nothing surprised me.
Bredis appears to be joining the club of top-level cruiserweights that are now moving to heavyweight. He's joining Usyk and Garcia, who've also moved up. Who out of those top-tier guys that were sort of in that tournament together will be best suited to the heavyweight division?
I think Usyk's movement will trouble a lot, but I don't know if he'll have enough to beat the top guys. But who knows? I think I think Briedis, if he was to move up, I think he's too small for heavyweight personally. But you can't blame him for moving up when he's done what he's done in the cruiserweight division. But yeah, then I think Garcia, I think he'll be too flat-footed at the same time, but he's got the punch power to hurt guys and have wars with the likes of Chisora and people like that. So yeah, but I'd say Usyk is most suited.
Just a couple more from me before I let you go, Chris. We're a couple of weeks out from a huge fight now. Lomachenko, obviously fought your stablemate Luke Campbell. You've taken on Teofimo Lopez. What do you make of that fight? How do you see it playing out as well? I
think Lomachenko is just too much. As long as he hasn't, grown old overnight, I think Lomachenko wins the fight. I rate Teofimo Lopez. I've seen bits of him, in his last few fights, but I just don't believe he's clever enough and got enough tools to beat Lomachenko. Lomachenko's a special fighter. Obviously, saw him live against Luke. Was ringside for that, and he was. He's just a phenomenal talent, and I know how good Luke is, and how much Luke wanted that fight, and how well he was doing in camp, and he was just that little bit too much in every round. And I believe Luke beats Lopez comfortably as well. So I can't see how Lomachenko loses to Lopez.
You touched on Luke there. He is obviously preparing now for Ryan Garcia. We're waiting for an official date on that, but he's sort of taken a similar path to Georgian way, where we know it's there and he just needs to get over the line now. Do you feel like this is a perfect last step for him to go all the way now, and do you think it's too much too soon for Ryan as well? Yeah,
absolutely. I think Garcia's looked good against smaller men moving up in weight, and they've matched him really well, and obviously he's got the whole social media package that comes with it, and that's sort of the hype that gets built. But when you look at the actual substance, I think there's a lack of substance there for Garcia. If he was over here and fighting for, certain belts and going up and having 50-50s domestically, which he might win, but they're the sort of fights that you learn from and you improve from. But I think it's way too much, and Luke's just sparred there and he's looking good, and I know how much he wants it. He's not a chance he'll be slipping up.
All right, Chris, I've kept you for just about 10 minutes there, second day back in camp, so I'm going to leave you there, but thank you as always, speaking to Boxing Social. I'm sure we'll catch you when you've got some actual fight news for us as well.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.